Welcome to the DFS Sweatshop. Uh, I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Tonight is it's a really hard night for me. Uh, I've got to do something that I've never imagined I would have to do, something I don't want to do, but I've got to stay true to the DFS Sweatshop fam. Y'all put a lot into being a part of this whole thing, man. And I've got to be real with you. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and get it out the way and starts tonight's show off with that one motherfucker, man. That one motherfucker who fucked up all the lineups. The motherfucker who stole 8.2K in salary from us at 6% owned when nobody else believed in you. Everyone turned their back on you. I'm willing to venture to say that the 6.2% of people that believed in you came from me, came from the Sweatshop. You took our trust. You took our hope. You took our money. And Mike Conley took your hoes. Kimber, Mr. Walker, tonight, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. How the fuck you gonna go out there and at 8.2K with 6% ownership, you got the whole DFS Sweatshop riding on your back, and what do? You shit yourself. You let Mike Conley upstage you at the Beehive. You make me look bad. You fucked up the core 4 plays. That's why tonight, you's a motherfucking snowflake. And we ain't gonna roster your ass again at home tonight. But we love you. You a great player. Let's go and get on with the show and round out today's feature for players. First, we're gonna start, or secondly, since we done got on his snowflake ass, we are gonna start with the Who Dat scoring all them points over there player of the night, and this is no other than Salah Mejri. Now, Bogut was out tonight. It was announced maybe an hour or so before lock that Salah Mejri was going to be starting. I played him a lot last year. There were a certain few stretches of the season when he was the starter or coming right off the bench, the first big off of the bench, and he was pretty good. He always looked pretty good to me. I kind of wanted him to get more minutes last year. This is coming from somebody who's been playing DFS for a couple of years now, and he went out and did not disappoint. Salah Mejri, 32.25 DraftKings points at 1.6% ownership, and at minimum salary, the very bare minimum, 3K. He went out and damn near 11x'd on him. Great game from Salah Mejri, and that's why you, sir, are tonight's Who Dat, scoring all them points over there, player of the night. The next guy we're going to get into is going to be the How Did I Miss That Play Tonight. This is the person that he was in a good spot. We all knew he was in a good spot, but for some reason or another, he did not make it into our lineups, and this was Eric Bledsoe. Had an excellent game, came in at 6.5K, 4.3% ownership. How did we miss that, y'all? 4.3% ownership. This dude was less owned than the motherfucking snowflake who took our money. Old snowflake ass. 56.75 DraftKings points, 4.3% ownership at 6.5K, 9x, great play, great day for Eric Bledsoe. The next play we're going to get into is going to be the heat check play tonight, and it couldn't go anywhere else but to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Had an excellent game, went out and got his first triple-double of the season, the 6th of his career. We talked about it. If you watched the show last night, we talked about him just being in a great spot against a subpar Orlando defense. There's something inside that said that he was going to be a really great play, and we weren't the only ones who thought so. 29.5% ownership, roughly a third of everyone who played DFS last night had him in their lineups. If you didn't, your loss. The dude went ham, had an excellent game, and a triple-double. The next thing we're going to do is going to jump into our Core 4 review. This is where we take a look at my Core 4. You can definitely take an introspective look at your own Core 4. We're going to look at mine, and we're going to see how they stacked up in terms of that implied value we're looking for the evening right now. Remember, we want to get 6x value, and it was brought up to me by one of the family members on Twitter. Really good question. He asked, how much in salary am I looking to spend on my Core 4 players? Because a lot of people are like, well, Core 4 is easy. Tonight should have been Giannis, John Wall, James Harden, and Hassan Whiteside. Well, yeah, in a perfect world, I'd have enough salary to roster all those guys. The world is not perfect. So what I try to do is I try to invest less than half of my complete $50,000 in DraftKings money in my players. If I can get a Core 4 that I really like that's going to return 6x value at less than 25K, I really feel comfortable about the night. And that's why I like 8-game slates so much, because for some reason in an 8-game slate it makes it way easy for me to maneuver my salary cap in such a way where I'll be less than the 25,000 it takes to get half, but I can still put out a Core 4 that I'm really excited about. So let's go ahead and jump into that. The first guy I'm going to talk about is KCP. Now KCP was at what, 3% owned. An excellent play. I was on him all day. I just had a feeling that he was going to have a really good game against a subpar Houston defense. And at 5.3K, he went out and scored 33.75 DraftKings points, hit 6.4x value. That is more than we wanted to get. So that was a very good play by KCP. I hope you used him and had him in your lineups if you saw my Core 4 review. The next guy I'm getting into is going to be Gorgie Jang. At 7.3K, we love it when we get guys under 10% owned. That means we can move the needle. That means if I'm on the leaderboard and I'm sitting there and I've got a guy that's at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3% owned, every time he does something, I'm gonna have a shot at moving past the guy ahead of me. So we had Gorgie Jang at 7.3% owned. He was 5.8K, very modest priced on him. Went out and scored 42 DraftKings points at 7.3x value. That was perfect. That is exactly what I wanted from him. Next guy is going to be Isaiah Thomas at 12.3% owned. The ownership was a little bit higher. He was at 7.9K and scored 38.5 DraftKings points, right around 4.9x. 5 is the least I will take. 5 is the very least I will take, but I won't take that from a guy that's above 6K. If Gorgie Jang gave me 5x and Isaiah Thomas gave me 7.3x, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But I'm not cool with a guy that I pay upwards of 8K for giving me 4.9x value. That's not cool. So Isaiah Thomas, you fucked up. Then the last guy that was in the Core 4 is Kemba Walker, his snowflake motherfucking ass. We talked about that one motherfucker who ruined all the lineups. Normally I have him at home in 80 to 100% of my lineups. Luckily tonight I had him in just about 60%, so I was able to recoup most of my buy-in back. It was not a profitable night. We're gonna have some of those in DFS. That's why we stick to the bankroll management tactics, and so that a night like this won't totally deplete my bankroll. So at 6.7% owned, which was perfect, that puts you in position. Anytime Kemba was if he had played the game that I thought he was going to play, whatever he did, I was going to be moving past someone. So at 6.7% owned, 8.2K that he stole from us, he goes out and scores 27 DraftKings points and gets 3.3x. Horrible. That is horrible. That is just over half of that's not even a half of what I would expect from the leading play on my Core 4. Now, this Core 4 finished for about 5.5x value, which is not horrible, but it's not the floor of 6x that I wanted. So 141.25 DraftKings points is what they scored. What they should have scored combined together was 163.2 DraftKings points. So I was at a minus 22 when it came to my Core 4 and how they stacked up against the rest of the league in the action. Now, let's do a quick game-by-game recap of last night's games before we jump into the player pricing as well as the short 4-game slate for tomorrow. And you know how I feel about these short slates if you've watched the show. if you've been following, if you are a family member, you know my only attack mode on these short slates is the stack, and we've got some pretty good games tomorrow that can be stacked. We've got some really decent point totals. There's going to be some scoring in there, but we're going to get into that when it is time. The first game we're going to get into from last night's slate is going to be, of course, the Philadelphia 76ers at home against the Miami Heat. Now, we saw a really good game from Hassan Whiteside. I mean, he should have been the ultimate chalk. We knew he was going to ball out against the Philadelphia 76ers, but he went out and had played 32 minutes, had 32 points, career high for him, 13 rebounds and 2 blocks. Didn't see what we thought we were going to see from him on the defensive side. Usually he kind of fills up the stat sheets, couple steals, maybe an assist or two, and more blocks. I mean, this is a guy that had 10 blocks, got a triple-double with 10 blocks last season. So we didn't see what we wanted to see from him defensively, but it was a decent game from him. Dion Waiters, who is from D.C., from Philadelphia, had a homecoming of sorts and had 19 points, 3 rebounds with 5 assists. Pretty good game from him. Goran Dragic kind of disappointed. 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists with 3 steals and a block. It would have been so much better if he had gotten to the double-double with the 10 assists. Not too much else to speak of from this game. Tyler Johnson jumped off the bench and played 30 minutes and only had 3 points with 9 rebounds, an assist, and 2 steals. On the Philadelphia side of the ball, we saw a really good game from Ersan Ilyasova, a double-double. At that, he had 3 assists and 1 steal to go with 10 points and 11 rebounds. Joel Embiid did not disappoint, but he didn't do what we thought he was going to do as far as defensively and rebounding. But he was going up against Hassan Whiteside, so I kind of stayed away from him. I think I faded him at 100%. I didn't have him anywhere, actually. But in 23 minutes, because we know he's on that 24-minute restriction, he had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Robert Covington, man, he fell 2 good plays shy of a double-double. He had 9 points and 9 rebounds to go with 3 steals and an assist. Jahlil Okafor in 24 minutes had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Gerald Henderson, who I liked all day long, but a report came out that he had an illness and wasn't going to play. He ended up playing 32 minutes and had 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists at 3.5K. Pretty good play from him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Washington Wizards at home against the Phoenix Suns. This was probably be the stackable game of the night. This is the game that, you know, I looked at some of the leaderboards, and a lot of them had straight up stacks from this game. And we're going to start off on the Phoenix side. We didn't know that Devin Booker was going to play until maybe 30 minutes before lock, but in 36 minutes he had 30 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Great game from him. Alex Len kind of took control of that leading role in the backcourt, and in 30 minutes he had 11 points and 10 rebounds with 3 blocks and 3 assists. Eric Bledsoe, how did I miss that play of the night, had an awesome game. He played 39 minutes, scored 29 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks for him. Not very much on the revenge narratives that swirled around all day about Jared Dudley. He went out and in 26 minutes he had 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Wasn't a snowflake, but in a larger GPP, if you're gonna, no matter where you roster a guy, what price point you roster him at, I'm talking at 3.5K, you're still looking for a fire with 26, 27 points. That's what you're looking for, and it was available to us tonight on this slate, just not with Jared Dudley. On the Washington side of the ball, we had a heat check player of the night candidate with John Wall. He had 18 points, 15 assists to go at 4 steals, 3 blocks, and 4 rebounds. Otto Porter only saw 23 minutes due to an injury, and he was on track to having a good game. He had 9 points and 9 rebounds with 2 assists and 2 steals for him. Markieff Morris, he was definitely in the running to being one of the snowflakes of the night. In 26 minutes, he saw 5 points and 5 rebounds with an assist and 2 steals. Not a great game from him. And Brad Beal, man, scored a career-high 42 points and had 4 rebounds in 39 minutes. Didn't do anything else, but that was enough to more than return value on Brad Beal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Charlotte Hornets at home, Kemba at the crib, stealing my money, against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, we all thought that due to the fact that the Hornets were at home, they were going to be able to control the pace of the game and kind of speed the game up, make it many more possessions than it was, but that was not the case. The Memphis Grizzlies were in control of this game starting at the tip-off. On the Charlotte side, we saw MKG really have a nice game for where he was priced at. In 32 minutes, he had 11 points with 10 boards and 4 assists. Has he turned the corner? That's yet to be acknowledged, but we're going to look at him going forward and see where we get from him. Nick Batum, he seemed very involved in the game, but in 33 minutes, he only had 8 points with 4 rebounds and 5 assists to go with a steal. Kemba, we talked about his snowflake ass. He had 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal with a block. Frank Kaminsky jumped off the bench and in 20 minutes had 23 points, a steal, and 3 blocks. And we knew Cody Zeller was going to be out in this game, and we knew we were going to start the game with Roy Hibbert. Knew that wasn't going to last long, and the Charlotte bigs that were healthy were going to come off the bench and help out a lot. And that's where we saw 37 minutes from Spencer Hawes. He had a double-double, 14 points and 10 rebounds to go with an assist, a steal, and 2 blocks. Excellent game from Spencer Hawes. On the Memphis side, Mike Conley, who stole the hose, had 31 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals, and straight up took Kemba to school, man. He played 36 minutes and got it in. James Ennis, in 13 minutes, he had 7 points and 2 assists. We saw a pretty good game from Marc Gasol. He had 13 points and 8 rebounds with 9 assists. He did flirt with that triple-double. Also had a steal and 3 blocks. Pretty good game from him. Vince Carter, the old man, in 32 minutes, had 10 points with 5 rebounds and 5 assists to go with a steal. Pretty good game all around from the Memphis Grizzlies. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Indiana Pacers getting the doors blown off of them by the Golden State Warriors. Now, I saw a couple lineups where it was stacked to where they just had Kevin Durant. I mean, she stacked like the whole. It was a beautiful chick, beautiful young lady. She had a lineup in, and it was stacked straight up Golden State, and it looked great up until the third quarter. These guys really didn't see their full allotment of minutes because it was such a blowout. We saw Kevin Durant in 27 minutes had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Draymond Green kind of flirted with a triple-double with 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists to go with 2 steals and 2 blocks. Klay Thompson continued his hot shooting and in 26 minutes had 25 points. Do you see what's going on here? Everybody had 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. We didn't see anybody in 30 minutes. The closest we got was Draymond Green and Steph Curry. And Steph in 29 minutes had 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. No real scrub love to speak of coming off of the bench for the Golden State side. But on the Indiana side, we did see Glenn Robinson III had a decent game for his price point. I think it was at 3.7K, had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals for him. Thaddeus Young, who we thought was going to do a better job rebounding the ball, only grabbed 6 boards, and he had 14 points in 28 minutes. Jeff Teague was kind of on track to balling out in this game, but he had an injury. We've got to keep our eyes peeled for that. If you look at the Indiana injury report, it just to say everybody. They're all injured, and it's crazy. Rodney Stuckey jumped off of the bench in Jeff Teague's absence and ended up playing 23 minutes and had 21 points with 2 rebounds. We also saw Kevin Seraphin for a little while, had 14 rebounds and 8 points from him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Detroit Pistons at home against the Houston Rockets. This was a low point total coming in. They kind of didn't meet that. It was a 206, I believe, and we were at right around 198. Pretty good game we saw from Clint Capella. We all liked him. I love Clint Capella. I think he's a great player, a great young player at that. And he had 15 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks in 35 minutes. Shout out to the guy who told me to play Clint Capella. He was like, yo, there's one thing I know. You can play Clint Capella against, you can play centers against Detroit. The presence of Andre Drummond would lead you to believe not, but you can definitely play centers, especially good rebounding centers against the Detroit Pistons. James Harden started off kind of slow, but he's going to get his 37 minutes. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists, flirted with a triple-double, and he also had a block to go with that. Ryan Anderson didn't really shoot the ball very well, had 10 points and 6 rebounds with an assist. We saw Sam Decker jump off of the bench and in 24 minutes have 12 points and 4 rebounds. On the Detroit side, KCP got it in. He did. He continued the hot shooting, man. 38 minutes. He had 26 points, but he doesn't do enough in the peripherals to be an everyday DFS play. You just got to get him when it comes to the matchup. If the matchup is good, you can like KCP. If not, he's not going to do enough in the peripherals. He had 26 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. We also saw Andre Drummond, man, 13 points, 16 boards, and assists, and 4 steals. Pretty good game from him. Tobias Harris, underwhelmed. Could have been a snowflake. And in 20 minutes, he had 9 points and 2 rebounds. Marcus Morris, not a very good game from him. Just not too much to speak about from the Detroit side. The next game we're going to get into is going to be where the heat check play of the night came. Milwaukee was at home against the Orlando Magic. They're very bad defensively. And on the Milwaukee side of the ball, of course, we had the triple-double from Giannis Antetokounmpo. In 38 minutes, he had 10 assists, 10 rebounds, 21 points, 5 steals, and 3 blocks. Now, you look at the triple-double, and you say, man, that's a lot of points, triple-double. But what really pushes him over the top is the 5 steals with the 3 blocks. Defensive stats are clutch, and they took him to that 67-point mark that he reached. And it was an excellent game from him. We implored you on last night's show, if you were going to play Giannis, play Parker. Because for some reason, when Giannis plays well, Parker plays well. It's just a correlation between the two of them. If you love Giannis, you should automatically love Jabari Parker. And in 35 minutes, he had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals for him. Nothing else we saw from the Milwaukee side. Maybe a little scrub love with Mike Beasley. He had 19 minutes, 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist for him. On the Orlando side, we saw a pretty good game from Serge Ibaka. He had 21 points to go with 8 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. When he is focused and when he wants to play, he can be a really big defensive presence as well as shoot the jump shot. The problem is he never wants to do both at the same time. Either he's outside shooting threes or he's down low banging, getting rebounds and block shots. Evan Fournier, 18 points and 5 rebounds from him to go with 2 assists. We saw a pretty decent game from Elfrid Payton. That price is steadily dropping because he's not doing enough, but he did have 8 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, kind of flirted with a triple-double, and 3 steals to go with that. We saw Bismack Biyombo get into the action too. He only played 22 minutes, but in those minutes, they were quality. 13 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks for him. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves at home against the Boston Celtics. Now, if you had to ask me which game was going to be the most competitive when it came to the point total, I would have said this game. But it was a very low-scoring game. Neither team broke 100. Both of them are up-tempo, fast teams that when they get hot, they can shoot the rock and put up points. But that just wasn't the case tonight. Jake Crowder, if you played him, I'm sorry. I never said that. He had 4 points and 5 rebounds. Really not a great game from him. Amir Johnson was who he was. Al Horford, in his second game back from the concussion, had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. And he does work in transition. He's a really, really good. When they play a fast-paced team, that benefits Al Horford. Pretty good game from him. Avery Bradley, underwhelmed, had 13 points and 3 rebounds. Didn't like him going into the game. And one of the core 4 plays that really didn't play very well was Isaiah Thomas. In 31 minutes, he had 29 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal for him. We saw Marcus Smart for a little while and didn't do too much. And Terry Rozier in 16 minutes had 12 points to go with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. On the Minnesota side of the ball, I did not like Andrew Wiggins at all. I did not like him at all in this game. I had him nowhere. Quite frankly, I haven't rostered Andrew Wiggins all year long because I just don't like his game. I just don't like his game. Now, it looks like it's getting better, but he's just not somebody who I feel fits that price tag that's on him because it's very high, and I didn't like it. It was like 7.9K. I didn't like it. So, in 39 minutes, played almost the whole game. He had 14 points and 4 rebounds to go with 1 assist. The 2 guys that I really liked for the Minnesota side was Gorgui Dieng and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony grabbed 18 boards, a career high, had 27 points, 3 assists, and 2 blocks for him. Gorgui Dieng hit the double-double bonus with 20 points, 10 boards, and 3 assists to go with 2 steals and a block. Pretty good game from him. Ricky Rubio kind of flirted with a triple-double, but the game just didn't work in the flow of his favor. He had 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists to go with a steal. And Adam Levine underwhelmed, but he did have a tick in each statistical category: 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the San Antonio Spurs at home against the Dallas Mavericks. I never believed in that Gibson shit. I never believed it. Didn't roster him at all anywhere. Just really never liked him as a he's a bench player. I didn't like him in the starting role, especially against San Antonio Spurs. They were a really good team, and I don't like to roster people against the Spurs anyway. But if you got your hands on Salah Mejri at 1.6% owned, you're probably somewhere near the winner's circle. In 32 minutes, he had 8 points, 11 boards, 1 assist, 4 steals, and 1 block. Pretty good game from him. We saw kind of a bounce back game from Harrison Barnes, had 20 points and 9 rebounds to go with an assist and a block. Seth Curry, low bra ended up going out and in 35 minutes having 23 points, two rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. Decent game from Wes Matthew. At his price point, we saw a nice scoring bump from him. He had 20 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists to go with a steal in 39 minutes. On the San Antonio side, who else got popped? Because I definitely got popped. Had no idea that LaMarcus Aldridge was not going to be playing until well after lock. Thanks to the late swap issue, we don't have that anymore. But Kawhi Leonard had 24 points and 9 rebounds with 4 assists and a steal in 33 minutes. We saw a pretty decent game from Pau Gasol, 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists in 27 minutes. Patty Mills had 17 and 3 with an assist and a steal. And David Lee had 12, 4, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Pretty good game from him. Now, the last game on the slate, where your late night hammer should have been at, we saw a pretty good game from Blake Griffin. He started off kind of slow, but he ended up getting 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists to go with a steal and a block. Chris Paul had a nice Chris Paul game with 26 points, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, and 2 steals in 36 minutes. DeAndre Jordan, man, 7 and 15. Really good game from him. He had 1 block to go with that as well. JJ Redick continued his hot shooting, and in 29 minutes had 20 points to go with 2 rebounds and 1 steal. Not much off the bench. We didn't really need those guys very much, but the LA Clippers took care of business on the Toronto side of the ball. Norman Powell got the start, and in 26 minutes he only had 11 points, an assist, and a steal. Not a good play if you did play him. DeMar DeRozan is still hovering around reality. He's had 25 points to go with 4 rebounds and 7 assists with a steal. And Kyle Lowry, man, put up some points against Chris Paul at 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. Really good game from Kyle Lowry. We also saw Patrick Patterson, Pat, who was very cheap, 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists for him. Pretty nice game for Patrick Patterson. Now, let us go into the player pricing for tomorrow, just to give us a quick look at what we can expect when it comes to our roster construction. Hopefully this will be a seamless. Yep. Let's go to DraftKings. Go hit up the lobby. And we're just going to take a quick look at where we are as far as player pricing goes. Oh, well, before we do that, let's take a look at my best lineup. Now, I fell just shy of the 300 club. This is my best lineup. We started off this lineup as a strict core 4 lineup. We had, of course, Gorgie Jang, Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Isaiah Thomas here, and I believe I had Kemba up here. But I looked and saw how overweight I was on Kemba, and I decided to do some pivoting and move around a little bit. So we got John Wall in there, which really helped us out. Of course, I liked Kentavious Caldwell Pope. I probably had him in 90% of my lineups. So we went down to Glenn Robinson, who we thought was going to be a good play. Gorgie Jang was still in there. And I wanted to get some Horford. I wanted to get more of that Minnesota and Celtics game. So I had Al Horford in there. He had 41 DraftKings points. Jared Dudley, who kind of flaked out on me. He wasn't a snowflake, but he just didn't really return that value that we thought he was going to return in a revenge game. And Andre Drummond had him in there. Pretty good play. And this lineup finished with 299.25 DraftKings points just missed the cut. And to show you the second best lineup I had was here. Just to show you, I'm not just telling you to play guys. When I release my core four, like I'm really playing these people. These are the guys who I'm betting it all on. Here, again, you got Isaiah Thomas part of the core four, Contavious Caldwell Pope, Gorgie Jang, and Kemba Walker, his old snowflake ass. We went with Devin Booker at low ownership. We knew that once the injury concern was kind of in there, he wasn't going to be very highly owned. But he had a really good game, man. He had 37.5 DraftKings points. Good game from him. We also had John Wall. Now this lineup cashed, but it didn't hit the plateau we thought it would because Kemba didn't really perform. We didn't really get much from Allen Williams. Not a very good showing tonight. It was not a profitable night. We lost about $8 of our $50 buy-in. But tomorrow, we will do it again. Let us go and check out the player pricing for tomorrow and get an idea of who we stacking. Because tomorrow, I don't care what anybody tell you. I don't care what Roto Grinders, Roto Master. I don't give a fuck what any pod tell you. It's a stack slate. You saw it the other night. It was proven the other night when whoever stacked Indiana won all the fucking money. That's what happens. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We've got the most expensive player on the slate, of course, is Russell Westbrook. He's at 12.5K. That's a hell of a price for one player. And the reason why it's so hard for me to have a guy like this in my core four is because, like I was telling you earlier, I try to keep my core four under 25,000 salary, under half of my salary. And there's no way I can spend a fourth of my complete salary on Russell Westbrook and still get core four plays in. Now I might have him in a few spots. I will. It's a 4-game slate. I've got to have him somewhere. But Russell Westbrook on an 8-game slate will not be a part of my core four. Plus, it's like some no-brain shit. I'm not going to, oh, you should start the best player, the highest scoring player, the highest priced player on DraftKings. That's stupid. Anybody knows that. We're all seasoned DFS players. We know better than that. We got Anthony Davis going to Atlanta at 11K. That's pretty tasty. I kind of like that, especially as a game stack. Jimmy Butler coming off a 40-point game going to Denver. Now, automatically, something I'm seeing is stacking Denver. Automatically. I like some of the price points on the Denver players. I think we can stack some Denver players and still get some of those high price guys in there. We got Paul Millsap at 7.9K. Dame Lillard going to New York. He loved to show off in the Big Apple. We can definitely see a Dame game for tomorrow. We got Carmelo Anthony going up against some suspect defense. Even though I don't like the roster, Carmelo Anthony, tomorrow might be one of those times where I have to on a 4-game slate. You got Dwight Howard at 7.7K going up against Anthony Davis and Alexis Ajinça. We've got CJ McCollum in New York as well, 7.4K. Julius Randle at 6.7. Victor Oladipo at 6.6. Drew Holiday. We've got this. See, this is the potential game stack. I like Drew Holiday. If I can maybe stack Denver, but come out with Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, I think that might be a really good way to go. We got D'Angelo Russell, who is questionable at 6.2. D Wade at 6K. I believe he sat out the last game out. Emmanuel Mudiay at 5.9. He's still cheap, and he's good. Emmanuel Mudiay is still cheap. Derrick Rose at 5.8, going up against that Portland defense, which is really no defense at all. Wilson Chandler at 5.7. I do not believe in him. See, what I'm doing now, I'm developing a player pool, guys that I kind of like in my head. Mason Plumlee at 5.6K. That might be a really nice play. I like him. Kent Bazemore at 5.5. Terrence Jones 5.4. That price is going back down. We've got Taj Gibson at 5.4. Steven Adams 5.2. Tim Frazier at 5.1. Mo Harkless 4.9. Will Barton, who is back in the fold, 4.7. Yusuf Nurkic 4.6. Enes Kanter. We got Joakim Noah, who is questionable, might not play tomorrow, at 4.4. Nick Young 4.4. Swaggy P. We got Etuan Moore, Evan Turner, Mike Muscala, I don't like him. What is the price on one of my favorite young players, Nikolai Jokic? He's still at 4.5K, going up against the Chicago Bulls at home. The Denver stack may be where I go tomorrow. So let us go ahead and jump into the point totals really quickly, just to get an idea of where we want to invest the most of our salary and what game do we want to invest our stack salary in. Before we do that, let's take a quick drink from our sponsors, Crown Apple. First game, it's going to be the New Orleans Pelicans going to the Atlanta Hawks. This is a 210-point total, with Atlanta giving up 7.5 points to the New Orleans Hornets. Now that is not a huge point differential, but it's just big enough for me to be cautious about doing a full game stack on the Pelican side. But it does make me kind of think that I can full team stack the Atlanta side. Dennis Schroeder is coming off a game that wasn't very good, so we can definitely look to get him in our lineups. Paul Millsap is definitely always in play. You've got Kent Bazemore, you've got Dwight Howard. So this is definitely a team that we may be able to stack as a home favorite. That minus 7.5 kind of shows that it's not going to be a runaway blowout where the starters see no run in the fourth quarter. So Atlanta may be a team to stack. New Orleans is not, in my opinion, a stackable offense. The point differential is just enough to keep Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday on the floor, but it's kind of weird because we don't know which bench players are going to put in those points. This is not where you can stack starters. You'd have to stack the two of the best players on the team, Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday, and then you have to hit perfectly on whichever bench guys are going to come off the bench and be scoring some points. So I don't think I like New Orleans as a stackable offense tomorrow, but I do like Atlanta as a stackable offense. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the second highest point total on the night, and this is the Portland Trailblazers going to New York to take on my Knicks. This is a 217-point total. The most beautiful thing about this is it's only a minus 1.5 in favor of the New York Knicks. So the New York Knicks are giving Portland a 1.5. These are both high-paced running teams. We know the offense that Jeff Hornacek runs is predicated on some triangle elements where the ball stays moving and flowing until it gets in Carmelo Anthony's hand, and then he stands there, throws a head fakes, and shoots that jumper. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. He's not going to rebound either. And that's the only reason why I would avoid New York as a team stack, because the quote-unquote best player on the team has a good or bad night depending on how well he shoots the ball. I need peripherals. I need rebounds. I need steals. I need blocks. I need defensive counting stats. I don't think we're going to see that. We haven't been seeing that a lot from Carmelo Anthony, and for that reason, I would use the New York Knicks as maybe a 1 or 2 off play. Maybe whoever comes in for Noah, if Noah is out, as the cheap center, and then or go with Porzingis and maybe Derrick Rose. Those are probably the only spots that I would travel to in New York. Now, on the other hand, the Portland side is a completely stackable offense for the main reason that their 3 best players play very well together, and they play very well off of each other. So you could definitely go Lillard, McCollum, and get that kind of a cheaper center with Mason Plumlee. So I definitely like Portland tomorrow as a game stack. New York more so a 1 or 2 off stack with Porzingis most notably, and maybe Derrick Rose. Remember, it's a 217-point total. It's only a 1.5 point differential. That is a game that a lot of people are going to have a piece of. The next game is very similar. It's about 10 points in the total. It's a 207.5 point total. You've got the Denver Nuggets at home getting 1 point from the Chicago Bulls. So this is pretty much a pick 'em. I love Denver, the stack Denver in this game. There's so much meat on the bone when it comes to the Denver offense, because the best players on the team, or the better players on the team, are cheap. You got Nikola Jokic, 4,500. You got Emmanuel Mudiay, 5.9K. Danilo Gallinari is not very expensive at all. These are guys that can kind of get into it and fill it up. Then, if you want to go hard, you can go Will Barton, somebody who, if he's hot, he goes ham and he scores 30 points. And before you know it, you've damn near taken down the GPP with the cheaper guys, with the cheaper stack guys on the entire slate, because this is probably going to be the cheapest stack that you're going to get. So I definitely do want to get a piece of this Denver game. And Jimmy Butler, man, has been shooting lights out. He's been saying, hey, I'm going out, I'm going to score 40 tonight, and he did it. So I definitely like Jimmy Butler tomorrow. I think he's going to be a really good play. We've got to see if Rondo is going to be starting, because you can even do a two-man stack on the Chicago side. Maybe Taj Gibson, because Denver is not like a impossible team to rebound on, especially with somebody like Taj Gibson. He's very active around the cup. So I definitely would like Taj Gibson tomorrow. You got Nikola Mirotic, who can come off the bench and really shoot it well. If the game is in reach and he's playing well, he's going to stay on the floor. So I definitely would like some shares of Nikola Mirotic tomorrow, and of course Jimmy Butler. So, but remember, the cheap stack on this slate is going to be Denver. I like Denver for the cheap stack. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the highest point total of the night. This is the quote-unquote late night hammer game, where you're going to see what really separates the men from the boys. If you have the stones to go up and pay 12.5K for Russell Westbrook, I'm sure I'm going to have a Oklahoma City stack, because I put in multiple lineups. I probably put in 5 lineups, but I'm going to play lightly. I'm only going to use 5% of my bankroll. Remember, on these short slates, we only play 5% because it's too unpredictable. In order to win and really cash well on these short slates, you have to hit on the worst player on the slate. You have to be like the shittiest player on the slate that has a great game. You have to have him on your roster, or you're not really going to win. So this is, again, a -2.5 in favor of the LA Lakers. They are getting 2.5 points. They are a home dog. We still got news yet to come out about D'Angelo Russell, if he's going to be playing or not. It is a 221 point total, and I can't stress this enough to you. When you listen to the pods all day tomorrow, do not be enticed by individual plays they tell you. Oh, you should make a lineup with Anthony Davis and a guy from Portland, and a guy from New York, and a guy from Denver, and a guy from Chicago. That's not the way to take these shits down. You got to stack offense. You've got to. It's the only way. Now, if you're playing cash games, do whatever you want to do, because I'm sure in cash games, other people are going to not be stacking. But if you're in GPP mode like I am, all I play is GPPs, single entry, and the larger GPPs. I'm stacking everything. Every lineup I have is going to be a stack. There are going to be a couple of lineups where it's a straight, complete starting 5 stack, where I'm stacking the whole starting 5. That's just how I'm rocking. I'm tired of it. I should have did it with James Harden the other night, and I should have did it with Indiana the other night, but I didn't. So let's check out this Oklahoma City and LA game. We've got some news yet to come out about D'Angelo Russell. The funny thing about the LA Lakers is, we've talked about this time and time again, their coach used to coach Golden State, Luke Walton, and he has figured out a way to get everybody 24 minutes. So that's why LA is not a stackable offense to me, because everybody's going to get 24 minutes. Nobody's going to really ball out. Everybody's going to have a pretty and decent game. You're not going to get that big star power point total from anyone on this roster. We've been seeing that lately. The Oklahoma City side, though, the only thing that makes this kind of a stackable offense for me, even though the price point is so high on Westbrook, is because the other players that are starting with them are so fucking cheap. Like, I believe you can start this whole entire 5 and still make room for maybe a McCollum or even maybe a Jimmy Butler on your roster. So I definitely think Oklahoma City is the stackable offense tomorrow. They were the stack that I was rolling with the last 4 game slate, and I missed on that. Should have stacked Indiana, but I think I will be making some Oklahoma City stacks. So I do like Sabonis in this game. Of course, remember how active Julius Randle is around the post. So I kind of like Julius Randle, but I don't think I'm gonna be rostering any Lakers, so to speak. Maybe if I'm looking for that salary saver, I will lean back to Brandon Ingram, especially if Russell doesn't play, because if Ingram can see 20 minutes without Russell on the floor, I think he's going to have a good game and easily exceed value at that 3.5K or something that he is now. We can look to Vic Oladipo definitely in this game. It's going to be I think a high-paced game. We know Luke Walton coaches that high-paced game. So this is definitely, on the Oklahoma City side, a stackable game. None of these games are projected blowouts, so scores are going to be very tight tomorrow. Remember, stack your offense, find out who you like, and when you stack your offense, do it in a way where you can still pay up and grab one of those guys that you really like on the slate. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. It has been a sad day in the DFS Sweatshop, but a good day nonetheless. And just to throw this out there to you, man, sent out a series of tweets. December 1st, man, we are going big with the DFS Sweatshop. I'm talking paid subscriptions that are going to be coming in. I'm going to be offering my spreadsheet services. I'm going to be offering access to my Facebook and Twitter page. That is the DFS Sweatshop Twitter page. If you are already in, and if you're watching this right now and you subscribe, you are already in, so it's free to you. You are grandfathered into this thing. The only thing I would ask of you is to keep it 300. And when somebody asks you, how do you get your information? You tell them me and us. That's all I would ask from you. It's going to be daily newsletters, daily email. The YouTube is going to be kind of shut down and optimized in a way where if you are a member or you are already a member, you would be getting the first look here. We're going to be launching the website December 1st. A lot of big things happening. I'm going to take this thing to a full-time level so that I can best serve you and we can make some money playing DFS the right way, streamlining our lineups, developing our cores, not going crazy with our bankrolls, managing our monies properly, and we're going to get to the money. Remember, in the DFS Sweatshop, what's the motto? We always, every day, even when Kimber and his snowflake ass fuck up our lineups, we always keep it 300.